Hi, Marcel, the Wood Butcher, here once again. And like I said, changing format and just, instead of just giving advice, I'm going to show you exactly what I do to overcome and to build certain things. Today, we're making half-lap joints that on pieces of wood that are 3/4 by 3/4 by about 7 and 1/4 inches long, to make actually two different products out of them. Number one are like hot plate trivets, and number two are freestanding candle holders that contain the wax so it doesn't roll all over your tables. But what the end result is going to be doesn't matter. I want to show you the easiest way that I have found to do half-lap joints. Okay? First of all, part of this, excuse me, I'll get out of the light, of the overhead lights. Half-lap joints are, of course, it's halfway through the wood. Halfway through. If you remember, Lincoln logs and this and that, those were double half-lap joints, okay? And like I said, this is all 3/4 by 3/4 inch stock. So I go through halfway, and the key is to, excuse me, like I said, I'm a one-man show, is to kind of try this the best I can, is you want to take your half-lap joint. Yeah, there we go, right here. And your other piece of wood with the half-lap joint. And I apologize for the condition of it. It's not been sanded yet. And match them together as close as you can. Okay? There are a number of ways to do this. I mean, you can use a router. I use the router as least as possible. So what I choose to do, you're going to have to excuse my fat hand for a second because I got to pull the kickstand out on this cell phone because, hey, don't get dizzy. Okay, here we are. We're back. Okay, I choose to do it by taking the piece of wood. I draw marks on it. I don't know if you can see the pencil mark. Yeah, but the pencil marks on there. And what that is, that allows me a width of the stock plus a width of the stock so that the very end piece sticks out so that it ends up looking like, for those that follow me, you saw these before, where they end up looking like this with nice half-lap joints. Right? Okay, now, the next step is I take them over to the bandsaw. I've marked, I don't have to mark every individual piece. I mark two of them, and let me show you how I do this. I'm going to have to take a trip over here to the bandsaw and grab this guy, which is a very small square, and this guy, which is a larger square. Okay? Now, I got to tell you, I have more than a handful of squares. Okay? So what I do is I take this square. See how short that is? And strangely enough, I measure it to make it halfway through the wood. I hope you can see that. don't change this. As long as your stock is the same, don't change this. This is your halfway mark to make a half lap joint. And I have this guy set for the length of it for where the first cut is going to be done. Okay? Then I run them through the bandsaw and I make, if you can see this first end cut, which happens to be from the end of the wood to here, the actual width of this. Then I make a mark here, and this is actually, again, the same width as the wood I'm using, but only halfway through the wood. And I do that on both ends. When you want to batch these, when you're making the first cut, you set the fence on your bandsaw, if you have a bandsaw, or if you're using a table saw, whatever. Set your fence for the first one or two, right? Make sure they go through. And then just continue to march with every other piece. Like, I've got 1, 2, 3, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. This guy kind of, and if you do run into a problem, when I was doing the second part I'm going to talk about, this guy kind of split on me, but that's what they make wood glue for, and clamps, to fix them. Okay? Now, the next step, once you have all of the first cuts made, just flip it over. The fence is set. Flip it over, make the cut on the second end for your first most narrow. So that gives you this cut and this cut. You don't need to remeasure. You already have it. So, and the fence is set. Bing through, bing, bing. Done. Okay? Put them all on the side. Readjust it. Turn your saw off, of course. Readjust the fence to make the inside cut. Once you have that done, right? Bing, into the bandsaw to the halfway mark, which this guy already gave you, and you only need to measure it once. The rest, you can pretty much do by eye, unless you really, really want to be anal and get it exact. You know, that's okay. And all you're going to do are this cut and this cut. When it comes to knock that piece out, that's when you use one of these. Yeah, a chisel. But make sure your chisel is sharp. Do not use a real heavy hammer, and make sure that when you put these cuts in, they are with the grain. Because if you try to chisel against the grain, you're not going to be happy with the results. Okay? I still have, a couple more to go. You see here, here. And what I'd like to do is try to set this up where, if I move this stuff out the way, to, you know what, maybe I'd do better, since it's daytime, if I shut this friggin' shop light off. Yeah, is that better? Okay, that's better. Okay, I'm gonna attempt on camera to show you how I do this.